More than a year since the start of the pandemic, business is booming at this plastic and glass supplier in Western Sydney. But high freight costs are keeping owners Jane and Casey Pearson awake at night.
So we've seen a 20% lift in rates in the last 12 months. And that depends on the region. So out of Europe, it might have been even, 50%.
But some clients are paying even more.
We've got a customer from the UK. Now they're seeing more than 840% increase. So once you open it...
Government stimulus checks and coronavirus restrictions have driven the appetite for products. But that has caused a global traffic jam at the world's ports.
It's obviously COVID impact, huge demand for more shipping. So increased demand, but at the same time, reduced capacity.
Over the past year, the median cost of shipping a 20-foot container from Australia to China has increased to nearly $1,500. The most expensive route from Shanghai to Rotterdam has soared 500%, with a 40-foot box now costing a record $13,500. And the price of transporting those containers from Shanghai to Sydney has doubled to more than $5,500.
Australia is predominantly an importer of goods, so you'll have an excess of empty containers over here. And our shipping lines, I can tell you, in the last 12 months have been working tirelessly in getting those containers out of this country.
That means some vessels are being used to pick up empty containers instead of transporting goods.
We've got one major exporter now who is very happily, with finally getting rains after years of drought. They've got a bumper crop of 20,000 tonnes of chickpeas, but they can't get capacity on any vessels to get to overseas markets.
The director of the Freight and Trade Alliance says the container crisis is challenging global supply chains.
A struggle to get them back to the manufacturers back in China and other parts of Asia in a timely fashion.
Shipping companies have cancelled trips to some ports to speed up journeys, and not enough containers are being manufactured. Shipping Australia boss Melwin Narunha says Australian ports must take some responsibility.
There's a buildup of these empty containers right across the world because of port congestion. And I think port congestion needs to be looked at very carefully.
Some vessels have been unable to dock in China because of trade tensions. And a blockage in the Suez Canal by a huge container ship in March has added to delays. Major retailers like Woolworths are paying more to get imports. The Reject Shop says those costs will be passed on to consumers.
So what we do need is just some level of regulation to make sure that pricing here isn't artificially being inflated.
There is absolutely no economic justification to regulate the shipping industry. It's a huge industry where you have multiple players competing against each other.
The shipping squeeze has affected all sorts of products, from building materials, iron ore and consumer products. For a business like this, it's added hundreds of thousands of dollars to shipping costs.
Jane Pearson says her business has also been forced to put up prices.
There's only so long that we can absorb those costs. So reluctantly, we did go to market with an increase earlier this year, but it was a heavily subsidised increase.
She expects those costs to last for the short to medium term. A price hike now being loaded up the supply chain.